this is really timely for me because I've just sent my 4-year-old son for his first week of school. And this is the first time I've given him over to, the education industrial complex. And part of me knows he needs to socialize and be around kids, but part of me is really worried that he's going to be taught a framework that was invented in the Industrial Revolution in order to create factory workers. And again, not have that creativity, that sense of risk-taking is okay. It's okay to fail. As an entrepreneur, I try to fail every year in order to progress. But how do you teach that in school?
Well, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
But probably he's not the problem. Probably you're the problem, because I haven't known you very long, but I suspect that you're a real control freak. You like things very neat and tidy, including your son. And your challenge, and I think a lot of us with kids, is to let go and let them form as their own characters and just watch them and be there to help to catch, but let them be themselves, not like you. Because we learn all this stuff in our life and we want to pass it on to our kids. But actually it's not of much use. You don't learn anything unless you get up there and make a mistake. When I was doing a Dragon's Den, I always said, I was much more interested in somebody who's had a failed business than I have as somebody who's had multiple successes. Because somebody with a failed business knows what can go wrong.
Yeah, and you've seen that. Tell me more about this idea of failure and risk. And like you said, you can't necessarily teach creativity or teach entrepreneurship, but if someone is out there who doesn't know what to do next and there's a lot of potential, how could they look at their business from a different angle? Like, is there a way to try to reset themselves, to write off what they were doing before and think, how can I come and find solutions?
Well, when you get a knockdown, the thing is that life's a long process. And when you get a lockdown, you're going to learn something. Just because you've had a knockdown, it doesn't mean you have to be on the ground for 10 years. You hear people going through divorces, 10 years it takes out of their life. Let go. Let the other person go off and do what they were doing. It's the same in business. You've got to get up and dust yourself off and get on and do the next thing. What was the question again?
Just how people can start that process of innovation or looking at their business differently.
Yeah, exactly. How do you start things? Going right back to kids coming out of school and thinking, what am I going to do? Which is the first time that you and I sort of thought, I expect, oh God, what are we going to do now? I certainly did. I was completely lost. And I remember my girlfriend's from Tahiti. And I remember some kid had been smoking too much ganja or whatever, and he didn't know what to do. And he was saying to me, oh, you're an entrepreneur. What can I do? I don't know what to do. I said, go outside. Your street's in a mess. There's rubbish. Get a plastic bag and go out and spend an hour every morning picking up the litter. And when somebody asks you what you're doing, saying, I'm helping look after the neighborhood. You're going to meet a lot of people. I bet you anything you like that one of them is going to say, there's a talented guy, we're going to do it. I'm just talking about doing things at a very small level. And then in business, I think, you have to have the creativity to reinvent the future. Certainly, there's all sorts of different businesses, but the area I'm in, which is hospitality and retail and all of that, most people out there want to know what's going to happen in the future. You can't market research a market that doesn't exist. So if you go out and sort of say, well, what does my customer want? I say the customer's got no idea what they want. But when somebody like me comes along and says, this is what we're doing, they say, oh, that's amazing. That's what the future's going to look like. That's what I wanted all the time. I always say it's the magic words. If I'd done market research when I started Sushi, which is, would you like to eat raw fish off conveyor belts with robots serving the drinks? Then people aren't going to hold their hands up and say, yeah, that's for me. When I opened the hotels, would you like to sleep in a 70 square foot natural room with no natural light, or 100 square foot luxury rooms? No, they're not going to. But when they walked into those rooms, they said what I call are the magic words. And the magic words are, this is so obvious, why didn't somebody do this before? And I didn't do that through market research. I think in the early stages of developing ideas, don't do market research. Preferably it's just me on my own or me and one other person, and we've got an idea and we develop it. Because new ideas, as soon as you put them up on a whiteboard and invite 10 people to comment on them, there's going to be a million reasons why it's not going to work. You've got to get much further on. And that's why entrepreneurs can start businesses and do new things and Tesla send people into space, Apple invent this, that, and the other, because they're obsessed with doing what they want to do, and they're not going to listen to any reason. It's not a modicum of unreasonableness and work obsession in the first few years of a business is absolutely a great thing to do. Work-life balance, forget it. It's no fun.